The mining outpost on the planet Xyrath 7 was quiet, almost too quiet for comfort. It floated like a small metal island on the edge of a jagged canyon, surrounded by orange dust storms that never seemed to end. The humans who lived there were a hardy lot, miners, engineers, and a few security officers, all used to long days of work and isolation. But none of them were prepared for what arrived that evening. Lieutenant Mara Keen stood on the observation deck, scanning the horizon through the reinforced glass. Her brown hair was tied in a tight bun, and her uniform carried the faint smudge of dust from another long shift in the mines. She had been on Xyrath 7 for almost 6 months, and in that time, she had learned one important rule: expect the unexpected. "Lieutenant, you might want to see this," said Sergeant Jalen, her second in command, pointing to the sky. Mara followed his gaze. Far off in the distance, a fleet of ships was descending through the orange haze. Their design was unlike anything humans had seen before. Sleek, dark, almost organic in appearance, with strange symbols glowing along their hulls. There was no doubt in her mind. These were not friendly visitors. "Aliens," Mara muttered under her breath. She had hoped that humanity had more time before first contact, but it seemed the galaxy was impatient. The fleet landed near the outskirts of the outpost. The ground shook with the impact, and dust clouds rose like walls around the human settlement. Mara and Jalen exchanged a quick glance. They had trained for potential attacks, but nothing in the manual could prepare them for the moment when it became real. The aliens emerged from their ships with an eerie grace. Their skin shimmered with colors that shifted like liquid metal, and their eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. Each movement was precise, almost surgical. They carried devices that hummed with energy, and Mara immediately recognized them as weapons. But these were not ordinary weapons. They seemed designed to incapacitate rather than kill outright. "Stay calm," Mara whispered to herself. "Analyze first, fight second." She motioned for her team to follow her inside the reinforced building. The miners and engineers had been evacuated to safe rooms, leaving only the security personnel to stand guard. Mara knew that human instincts were strong, but against these creatures strategy was essential. The aliens stopped a few meters from the main entrance. One of them raised a small device that emitted a green mist. The humans froze as the mist spread like a creeping fog. It had no smell, no sound, but it shimmered in the faint light. Mara's training kicked in. She grabbed a portable scanner from her belt and analyzed the cloud. "Toxin," she whispered. "They're using a biochemical agent. Fast-acting, designed to disable human nervous systems." Jalen's face went pale. "We're sitting ducks, Lieutenant." Mara's jaw tightened. She refused to give in to fear. "We've faced worse. Get your team ready. Evacuation routes, cover positions, everything. We might not have the luxury of time." The aliens seemed to anticipate human resistance. They activated small devices that emitted pulses of light and sound, scanning for life signs. Mara and her team retreated to the reinforced corridors, keeping low and moving silently. Every step was measured, every breath controlled. They had one advantage: they knew the layout of the outpost. The mist began to seep into the main corridors. A few security officers started coughing, their movements slowing. Mara felt her own muscles tingle, but she resisted the urge to panic. She knew that the human body was remarkably resilient, especially under stress. Then, without warning, one of the aliens moved directly toward her, its glowing eyes fixed on her with an intensity that was almost hypnotic. It raised its device again, and the green mist surged forward like a wave. Mara didn't think. She reacted. She ducked behind a large metal crate as the mist swept past her. Her heart pounded in her chest, but her mind was clear. She could hear the aliens communicating in clicks and hisses, a language she could not understand, but the meaning was clear. Control, capture, dominance. She activated her emergency comms. "This is Lieutenant Keen. All personnel, hold your positions. Do not engage directly. Observe, report, survive," her team responded in whispers. They were scared, but they trusted her leadership. Mara knew that fear was natural, but panic was deadly. The aliens were not merely attacking, they were studying. Every movement, every reaction, every hesitation was recorded by their devices. Mara realized something chilling. They thought humans were weak, predictable, and fragile. They had no idea what humans were capable of. Mara's mind raced. She remembered her training in adaptive survival techniques. The human body could withstand toxins if managed carefully. Rapid hydration, Controlled breathing and mental focus could slow the effects even in extreme situations. She signaled to Jalen to set up a defensive perimeter using the heavy machinery from the mining operations. Hours seemed to stretch into minutes. The aliens advanced slowly, confident in the toxin's effect. Mara and her team held their positions, resisting the urge to strike until the right moment. Every small success, the mist avoiding a sealed room, a security officer shaking off the effects, bolstered their morale. Then Mara noticed a pattern. The toxin seemed to react differently to her body than to the others. Her movement slowed slightly, but her mind remained sharp. She experimented subtly, moving her limbs, controlling her breathing, and observing the alien reactions. It was risky, but she needed data. The aliens noticed her defiance. One of them stepped forward, pointing its device directly at her. The green mist thickened. Mara could feel her body resisting, muscles trembling but not failing. Her mind raced with calculations. How long could she hold this? How strong was the toxin? Suddenly an idea struck her. Humans had survived countless deadly environments, poisonous planets, toxic atmospheres, extreme temperatures. What if the very thing they thought would defeat her could be turned against them? She began to move deliberately, testing her limits, watching the alien reactions carefully. Her team followed her lead, holding the line and keeping low. The aliens, confused by the unexpected resistance, paused for a moment. That pause was all Mara needed. She noticed a structural weakness in one of their devices, a vent releasing concentrated amounts of the toxin back into the air. She whispered to Jalen, "We might have a chance. Focus on their devices, not just the aliens." Jalen nodded, understanding immediately. The humans shifted from defensive to tactical maneuvers. Using mining tools, crates, and quick thinking, they began to disable the alien devices one by one. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the green mist began to dissipate in some areas, though the threat was far from over. Through it all, Mara kept her focus on survival and observation. She realized that the aliens underestimated humans in every way: strength, adaptability, intelligence. That realization fueled her determination. If they could survive this first encounter, they could learn, adapt, and maybe even turn the tide. As the first part of the night drew to a close, Mara took a deep breath. She was exhausted, her body tingling from the toxin, but her mind was alive with strategy. The aliens had attacked expecting an easy victory. Instead, they had found humans who would not yield, humans who could endure, adapt, and resist. And Lieutenant Mara Keen knew deep down that this was only the beginning. The night was heavy with tension. Inside the reinforced corridors of the Zerath 7 mining outpost, Lieutenant Mara Keen and her team tried to catch their breath. Dust from the earlier skirmish still floated in the dim emergency lights. The green mist from the alien devices lingered faintly in some corners, like a ghost that refused to vanish. Every sound, creaking metal, distant humming of alien machines felt amplified, sending small shivers through the humans. Mara leaned against the wall, her hand pressed to her scanner. She could feel the faint buzzing of energy in the air. The aliens had retreated slightly, but their threat was far from over. What worried her most was the toxin. Unlike anything humans had faced before, it wasn't just a chemical. It was a bioengineered compound designed to target nervous systems. If exposure continued, even the strongest human could collapse within minutes. She pressed the scanner again. The readings were strange. Her pulse raced, but not dangerously. Her breathing was steady. The toxin, instead of acting the way it should, seemed confused. Mara frowned. "This doesn't make sense," she muttered. "It's designed to stop humans. Why isn't it working fully?" "Lieutenant," Jalen whispered, glancing over his shoulder. "Some of the others, they're getting weaker. Look at Rodriguez." They turned a corner. Corporal Rodriguez leaned against a wall, his knees trembling. His eyes were wide, his movements sluggish. The toxin was taking effect on him, slowing his muscles, clouding his mind. His face was pale under the harsh light. Mara clenched her jaw. "We need to stabilize him." She handed him a small emergency injector designed to counteract environmental toxins, a precaution the humans always carried in hazardous zones. Rodriguez's movements were still slow, but the injection gave him enough strength to stay upright. Mara realized this was the moment to test herself. The toxin had brushed against her earlier, but she had not been fully exposed. Carefully, she adjusted her breathing. Taking in slow, controlled breaths, she focused her mind. imagining the toxin as a wave she could ride instead of letting it crush her. The tingling in her muscles began to spread, but it felt different this time. Her mind felt sharper, her reflexes quicker. "This isn't normal," Mara said quietly. "Something in my body is reacting differently." Jalen looked at her, alarmed. "Are you immune?" Mara shook her head. "I don't know. Maybe it's not immunity. Maybe it's adaptation. Humans, our bodies can handle stress in ways these aliens haven't accounted for. If we survive, if we focus, we can turn this to our advantage." The green mist crept closer again. One of the aliens stepped forward, device raised, confident that it would finally subdue her. Mara's heart pounded, but fear was replaced by determination. She didn't move at first. She wanted to draw the alien closer. Her team tensed behind her, waiting for her signal. Then, as the mist hit her directly, something incredible happened. Her body reacted, metabolizing the toxin in real time. Her vision sharpened instead of blurring. Her muscles felt stronger, more coordinated. The alien's weapon, designed to weaken humans, had instead triggered a temporary enhancement. Mara took a step forward. Her movements were faster, smoother, almost instinctive. The alien device hissed as if sensing resistance it couldn't calculate. Mara grabbed a nearby control panel and slammed it down, sending sparks flying toward the alien. Its attention shifted for a split second, and that was all she needed. "Now," she shouted. Her team surged from the corners, using mining tools and metal crates as improvised weapons. Sparks and metal clashed as humans and aliens engaged in a tense skirmish. For every move the aliens made, the humans responded with creativity and unpredictability. The toxin that was supposed to slow them had given Mara a small edge, and that edge inspired her team. Rodriguez, despite still feeling the toxin's lingering effects, managed to swing a metal bar to knock a device from an alien's hand. The device clattered to the floor, releasing a small cloud of green mist that dissipated harmlessly. Each success, small though it was, sent a wave of confidence through the humans. Mara realized the toxin's backfire wasn't just a personal advantage. It was a lesson. Humans were not easily defeated. The aliens had underestimated not only her resilience, but the resilience of her entire team. Humans thrived under pressure, adapted under stress, and improvised in ways no machine or alien could predict. The battle continued in waves. The aliens were highly coordinated, moving with precision, communicating through clicks and signals. But humans had something they did not: intuition, creativity, and unpredictability. Mara directed her team to use the environment to their advantage. Mining equipment, ventilation shafts, and emergency lighting all became tools and weapons. At one point, an alien fired a concentrated burst of the toxin at a human group. Mara dove into the path, intercepting the flow with a heavy metal container. The toxin splashed harmlessly on the floor, giving the humans time to regroup. Her body, still reacting positively to the alien compound, felt almost electric with energy. Reflexes that would normally take seconds now happened instantly. She could see the confusion in the aliens' movements. They had expected a quick victory, a simple incapacitation. Instead, they were facing resistance unlike anything in their experience. Mara smiled grimly. They thought humans were fragile. They were wrong. Even with their advantage, the humans were careful. Mara knew that overconfidence could be deadly. "Focus on survival first," she instructed. "Take calculated risks. Every move counts." Hours, or what felt like hours, passed in a blur. The green mist began to thin, either due to Mara's interference or the aliens' withdrawal. But the lesson was clear. Humans, even when exposed to seemingly lethal toxins, could endure, adapt, and fight back. Finally, a temporary lull came. The aliens retreated to regroup, leaving behind their devices and a trail of faint green haze. Mara checked her team. Some were exhausted, some slightly weakened, but all were alive. The toxin that had been meant to defeat them had instead revealed a hidden strength. Jalen approached her, still catching his breath. "Lieutenant, you were amazing. What you did, it's like the toxin made you stronger." Mara shook her head, though a small smile appeared on her face. "It's not just me. Humans are like that. We adapt, we survive. And when the odds are against us, we don't just endure, we fight back." Rodriguez groaned from the floor, but even he managed a tired nod. The team, though shaken, felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had faced something they could have thought impossible, and survived. More than survived. They had learned something fundamental about themselves. Humans were unpredictable, resilient, and capable of overcoming challenges no other species could fully understand. Mara's mind was already planning the next move. The aliens would return, they always did. But this encounter had taught her valuable lessons. Observation, adaptation, and leadership were as important as physical strength. She would need every ounce of intelligence, courage, and creativity to turn the next confrontation into a victory. As she looked out the observation window, the alien ships were still visible on the horizon, their dark hulls glinting faintly in the planet's dim light. They had underestimated the humans. That mistake could cost them dearly in the battles to come. Mara felt a strange combination of exhaustion and exhilaration. The toxin had struck, but it had failed to break her spirit. In fact, it had revealed something extraordinary. The human body, the human mind, and the human will could adapt in ways no alien could predict. She tightened her grip on her weapon, glanced at her team, and whispered to herself, "This is only the beginning. Let them come." The dawn on Zereth 7 brought no comfort. The orange haze from the planet's dust storms painted everything in strange, shifting shadows. The mining outpost still bore the marks of the night's chaos: scorched metal, sparks from damaged machinery, and the faint, lingering scent of the alien toxin. For most humans, the first light of day would bring rest and recovery, but not for Lieutenant Mara Keen. She stood on the observation deck scanning the horizon once more. The alien ships were still there, hovering silently in the distance. They were regrouping, no doubt, analyzing the humans' unexpected resistance. Mara's sharp mind calculated every possibility. These creatures were not invincible, but they were intelligent and well-armed. Any misstep could be fatal. Her team was emerging from the safe rooms, weary but determined. Rodriguez limped slightly, still recovering from the toxin's effects, while Jalen kept checking the scanners for any new threats. Every member of the human squad carried the same spark: a will to survive, a drive to fight back. "We have an advantage," Mara said, addressing her team. "The toxin didn't break us. It actually gave us something they didn't expect: information. They think humans are predictable, but we're not. They don't understand our adaptability." Her words stirred confidence. Humans had survived countless disasters, from storms that crushed colonies to chemical leaks in industrial zones. Adaptation wasn't just a skill. It was a survival instinct written into their very being. Mara knew that instinct could turn the tide. The aliens began their approach cautiously this time. Instead of direct aggression, they deployed drones to scan the outpost. Each drone emitted pulses of light that interacted strangely with the human surroundings. Mara observed carefully. The drones moved in predictable patterns, and their scanning pulses could be disrupted if she could manipulate the environment. "Rodriguez, take the heavy crane controls," Mara instructed. "Jalen, set up the magnetic fields near the ventilation shafts. Everyone else, prepare to move at my signal." The humans moved quietly, executing their plan with precision. They weren't just defending, they were preparing to retaliate. Mara had realized that the toxin, which was supposed to weaken them, had actually enhanced certain physical and mental responses in her. It was subtle, temporary, but enough to give her an edge. When the first drone hovered near the outpost, Mara gave the signal. Rodriguez slammed a lever, sending a large metal beam swinging through the corridor. It struck the drone, sending it crashing into a wall. Sparks flew and the alien scanning pulse went haywire. The humans advanced, exploiting every weakness. The aliens had counted on fear, confusion, and chemical incapacitation, but humans were unpredictable. They moved, adapted, and improvised. Mara led the way, using her enhanced reflexes to dodge obstacles and respond instantly to alien maneuvers. In one corridor, a group of aliens attempted to corner Jalen and two other humans. Mara leapt from above, swinging a heavy pipe. Her timing was perfect, a direct result of the subtle boost from the toxin. The alien staggered back, surprised by her speed and precision. The humans seized the moment, disabling alien devices and forcing the attackers to retreat. As the skirmish unfolded, Mara noticed another pattern. The toxin seemed to enhance neural response times temporarily, but only in humans under extreme stress. It created a window of heightened awareness, faster reflexes, and better coordination. She realized she could use this to train her team in real time, guiding them to exploit the aliens' weaknesses. "Focus on their devices, not just the aliens," Mara shouted. "If we take out their equipment, we level the field." The humans responded immediately. Using mining tools, they dismantled alien scanning devices, sabotaged energy emitters and turned debris into barricades. The aliens were intelligent, but they were also predictable. Their tactics relied heavily on controlling the humans through fear and chemical warfare. Once that control was broken, they struggled to adapt. Meanwhile, Mara continued to push her own limits. She felt the toxin's effects ebb and flow, a strange rhythm of weakness and heightened strength. Every time she felt her muscles tense or her vision blur, she controlled her breathing, centered her mind, and converted the energy into focused power. She moved faster than she ever had before, anticipating alien actions before they happened. One alien commander, a larger figure with multiple limbs, approached Mara directly, attempting to overwhelm her. It fired a concentrated pulse of the green mist. Mara sidestepped with uncanny speed, grabbing a nearby metal panel and deflecting the mist. The alien recoiled, clearly unprepared for her counterattack. Her team flanked the alien, using their environment to their advantage. Sparks flew as metal met alien armor, and the creature's device malfunctioned under human ingenuity. The commander retreated, signaling the others to pull back. For the first time, the humans had forced a tactical withdrawal from the aliens. Mara paused, taking a moment to assess the situation. Her team was exhausted, but they were alive, and more importantly, they were confident. They had learned something crucial. Humans were not fragile. Humans could adapt, fight back, and even turn an enemy's strength against them. She turned to Jalen. Prepare for the next wave. They will come again. But this time we won't just survive, we'll dictate the battle. Jalen nodded, impressed by her leadership. The team quickly regrouped, reinforcing barricades, setting traps, and planning ambush points. Every action was deliberate, calculated, and designed to exploit the aliens' predictable behavior. As the alien ships hovered closer, Mara's mind raced. She needed more information. Using a portable scanner, she detected the toxin's chemical composition. It was engineered to target human neural pathways, slowing reflexes and causing temporary paralysis. But humans had a unique adaptive response. Under extreme stress, their bodies could metabolize certain compounds faster, reducing harmful effects and, in some cases, enhancing physical and mental capabilities. This is our advantage, Mara thought. The toxin is dangerous, but it also gives us insight. We can use it against them if we're smart. She relayed her findings to her team. The aliens think their chemical attack will win the fight, but we've seen how our bodies respond. We'll use their confidence against them. Every attack they launch will teach us how to counter it. The humans spent the next hours preparing. They reinforced weak points, hid in strategic positions, and synchronized movements to maximize efficiency. The aliens, unaware of the humans' understanding, began probing again, sending smaller squads to test defenses. Each time the humans adapted, countered, and learned. Finally, the moment came. Mara led a team to intercept a small alien squad advancing near the main control room. Using calculated movements, precise timing, and environmental manipulation, they disabled alien devices one by one. Sparks, smoke, and the hiss of malfunctioning technology filled the air, creating chaos the humans could navigate with ease. The aliens tried to regroup, but Mara anticipated every step. She used her enhanced reflexes to dodge attacks, guide her team, and exploit every weakness. By the time the alien commander realized what was happening, Mara and her humans had turned the encounter into a trap. The aliens were forced to retreat again, leaving behind damaged devices and a trail of confusion. Mara stood at the center of the chaos, her chest heaving, eyes sharp, mind focused. She looked at her team, each member covered in dust and sweat but smiling with the thrill of survival and victory. For the first time, they were not just humans reacting, they were humans taking control. "Remember this feeling," Mara said, voice steady. "This is what humans do. We endure, we adapt, and when the odds are against us, we fight back stronger than ever. The galaxy may think we are fragile, but they are wrong." Her words resonated with every team member. The aliens had underestimated them, and that mistake would be remembered. Mara knew the battles ahead would be more dangerous, but the humans had discovered something vital. Their greatest weapon was not technology or firepower, it was their adaptability, courage, and intelligence. As the sun began to rise over the orange haze of Zerath 7, Mara allowed herself a brief moment of reflection. The toxin had struck, but it had failed to break them. Instead, it had revealed the true strength of humanity. a spirit that could not be predicted, a will that could not be crushed, and a mind that could turn adversity into advantage. The aliens would return, undoubtedly more cautious and more calculated. But the humans were ready. They had learned the language of adaptation, the rhythm of resilience, and the strategy of ingenuity, and led by Lieutenant Mara Keen, they would not just survive, they would dictate the battle, forcing even the most advanced alien species to reckon with the unpredictable power of humanity. Mara's eyes narrowed as she surveyed the horizon. The future was uncertain, the threat real. But the lesson was clear. Humans were not fragile, humans were not predictable, and humans, when pushed to their limits, could rise stronger than any enemy could imagine. The air in the mining outpost was thick with tension. The faint green haze of the alien toxin lingered in corners, curling like smoke over scorched metal and broken machinery. Lieutenant Mara Keen stood on the observation deck, her eyes scanning the horizon for signs of the alien fleet. She had expected them to return, but what she did not expect was the confusion that now rippled through their ranks. The humans had survived the initial attacks. They had adapted, fought back, and even learned from the aliens' tactics. And now the aliens were beginning to make mistakes, critical, expensive mistakes. Mara's sharp mind calculated every possibility. This was the moment to exploit their overconfidence, to turn their technology and their toxin against them. "Team, listen up," Mara called, gathering her squad in the central control room. The others looked worn out, but their eyes were bright with determination. "They think they've tested us. They think they understand what humans are capable of. They're wrong, very wrong. And now it's our turn to control the fight." Jalen nodded, his hand resting on the scanner. "We've seen how their toxin reacts with us. It's unpredictable, but it also gives temporary enhancement. If we push the right way, we can use it against them." Rodriguez, still recovering from exposure, looked skeptical. "Lieutenant, you mean fight them while they're trying to poison us?" Mara smiled faintly. "Exactly, but carefully focused, every move counts." Outside, the alien ships began to deploy again. This time, they sent more drones and ground squads attempting to flush humans out from the reinforced corridors. But Mara and her team were ready. They had spent hours observing patterns in alien movement, timing their attacks and preparing ambush points. The first wave of drones hovered near a ventilation shaft. Mara signaled to Rodriguez. With precise timing, he activated a crane, swinging a metal beam that struck the drones in succession. Sparks flew, and the drones emitted a high-pitched wail before crashing to the ground. One by one, the drones malfunctioned as the humans exploited weaknesses in their design. "Good," Mara said. "Keep it moving. Don't let them regroup." Inside the outpost, the humans advanced, coordinating like a well-oiled machine. Each move was deliberate, designed to exploit the aliens' reliance on chemical warfare and technology. The toxin, which had been intended to slow and weaken them, now worked paradoxically. The small doses some humans had received gave them temporary enhancements, sharper reflexes, quicker thinking, and more precise coordination. Mara herself felt it. Every nerve seemed to hum with energy. Her mind processed multiple inputs at once: the positions of her team, the locations of alien devices, and the timing of her attacks. She moved like a blur, dismantling devices, deflecting attacks, and guiding her team through the chaos. The aliens, confident in their superior technology, began to make mistakes. Their devices overheated, some even malfunctioned spectacularly. One emitter, designed to release concentrated toxin into a corridor, exploded when Mara's team sabotaged the stabilizer. A small fire erupted and the corridor filled with harmless smoke instead of the deadly green mist. Mara grinned. "See? Their own weapon is failing them." Her team pushed forward, taking advantage of every opening. They moved as a unit, covering each other, improvising when necessary. Every success, no matter how small, sent waves of panic through the aliens. They were smart, but they had underestimated human ingenuity and adaptability. Then came the critical moment. One of the alien commanders, the large multi-limbed figure, attempted to deploy a concentrated toxin bomb in the main storage bay. Mara anticipated the move before it happened. She signaled to her team, and they executed a synchronized maneuver. Heavy metal crates were pushed into position. Machinery was activated to create a magnetic interference field, and lights flashed to confuse alien sensors. The toxin bomb triggered prematurely. Instead of spreading as designed, The chemical backfired, releasing a volatile cloud that affected the aliens more than the humans. Several of them staggered, their devices malfunctioning under the unexpected chemical reaction. Mara's team moved in with precision, disabling alien equipment and forcing the remaining attackers to retreat. The humans had turned the aliens' own weapons against them. A tactic designed to dominate and subdue had become a tool for human advantage. It was a lesson in adaptability, courage, and ingenuity, qualities the aliens had never accounted for. Mara moved through the corridors, ensuring her team stayed coordinated. "Check every corner," she instructed. "Make sure no device can be used against us again. We've learned their patterns. Now they must learn ours." The aliens attempted to regroup, but every move was now under the humans' control. They tried to deploy more toxin, more drones, but the humans had anticipated these actions. Sparks flew as equipment was sabotaged, lights flickered in confusion, and communication between alien squads broke down under the chaotic conditions. Mara's team pressed forward, exploiting every opening. Each successful maneuver increased their confidence and morale. Humans had faced impossible odds before, but the combination of resilience, adaptability, and quick thinking was turning the tide in ways the aliens had never imagined. Rodriguez managed to disable a critical power source, sending a shockwave through an alien squad. The aliens' devices overloaded, creating confusion and chaos. Mara used this moment to lead a flanking maneuver, taking out key alien technology and forcing the remaining attackers to retreat further. "Focus," Mara shouted. "Every device we take out is one less weapon they have against us. This is our chance to show them the strength of humanity." By midday, the outpost was quiet again. The aliens had pulled back, leaving behind damaged drones, malfunctioning devices, and an unmistakable sense of defeat. Mara's team gathered in the central control room, exhausted but alive. Their eyes were bright with the thrill of victory, their minds racing with the lessons of the encounter. Mara took a deep breath, surveying the aftermath. "They underestimated us," she said. "They thought their toxin would win. They thought humans were predictable. They were wrong." Jalen nodded. "Lieutenant, they're going to think twice before attacking again. We've proven something tonight, not just that we survive, but that we can turn their strength into their weakness." Rodriguez, still catching his breath, smiled faintly. "I never thought I'd see the day when a human could make an alien weapon backfire like this." Mara allowed herself a small smile. "This is only the beginning. They will come back stronger and more cautious. But we've learned something invaluable. Humans are unpredictable, adaptable, and resilient. And that is a strength no alien can fully calculate or control." The outpost was damaged but intact. The team had survived the alien toxin and the first wave of attacks. More importantly, they had learned to exploit their environment, their instincts, and even the aliens' technology to their advantage. Humans were not just survivors, they were strategists, innovators, and fighters in their own right. Mara walked through the corridors, checking her team and the status of the outpost. Each damaged alien device was a lesson, each malfunctioning emitter a reminder of human ingenuity. She realized that the aliens' confidence had been their downfall. They had underestimated the human spirit, assuming that fear, chemical weapons, and technology alone could dominate a species that thrived under challenge. As evening approached, Mara stood once more on the observation deck watching the horizon. The alien fleet remained in orbit, likely reassessing their strategy. But Mara knew one thing for certain: humans had gained the upper hand, at least for now. Their ability to adapt, endure, and turn the enemy's tools against them had reshaped the battle. She glanced back at her team, who were repairing equipment and reinforcing barricades. "Tomorrow will be another fight," she said quietly. "But now we know our strength. We know what we are capable of, and we will never be underestimated again." The sun set over the orange haze of Xyrath 7, casting long shadows across the damaged outpost. The aliens had learned a hard lesson. Humanity was not to be taken lightly. Their chemical weapons, designed to dominate, had backfired spectacularly. And Lieutenant Marrakeen and her team had proven something extraordinary, not just to the aliens, but to themselves. Humans were resilient. Humans were adaptable. Humans could turn even the deadliest attacks into opportunities. And in the quiet moments before the next battle, that truth burned brighter than any alien weapon ever could. The sun had barely risen over Xyrath 7 when Lieutenant Marrakeen and her team began surveying the aftermath of the alien attack. The mining outpost was battered, scorched in places but intact. Sparks flickered from damaged machinery, and faint green streaks of the alien toxin clung to some surfaces. For humans, this was a challenge to overcome. For the aliens, it was a lesson they would never forget. Mara walked among her team, checking on each member. Rodriguez was tending to minor injuries, his uniform torn and singed in places. Jalen was inspecting the scanners, already preparing for the possibility of another attack. The team's exhaustion was visible, but so was their determination. Every face reflected a single thought. Survival had been achieved and victory had begun. Mara's mind raced as she examined the alien devices they had captured. The toxins, the emitters, the drones, all of it was advanced technology. Deadly technology. But humans were never just reactive. They were adaptable, creative, and intelligent. Each malfunctioning device told a story of how ingenuity and determination could overcome even the most sophisticated weapons. She called her team together in the central control room. "Listen up," she said, her voice steady and commanding. "We survived the first wave. We adapted. We turned their own weapons against them. And we sent a clear message: humans are not predictable. Humans are not weak. Humans cannot be underestimated." Jalen nodded. "Lieutenant, they've already retreated. I can sense hesitation in their communications. Whatever they expected to happen, it didn't, and now they're regrouping carefully." Mara's eyes narrowed. "Good, let them hesitate. Let them wonder. We will use that hesitation. Our next steps must be precise. Every move, every plan, every action will show them that humans are more than just survivors. We are strategists, innovators, and warriors." The team set to work, repairing damage and reinforcing key areas. Even the miners and engineers who had spent the night in safe rooms joined in. Every human had a role. Every human understood the importance of unity, intelligence, and courage. While the aliens relied on chemical weapons and precise coordination, humans relied on something far harder to predict: creativity under pressure, the ability to improvise, and a spirit that refused to yield. By mid-morning, Mara had gathered her team in the observation deck. The alien fleet remained on the horizon, hovering at a cautious distance. Mara could feel their uncertainty. They had expected an easy victory. Instead, they had faced resistance, adaptability, and intelligence they could not calculate. "Tomorrow," Mara said quietly, almost to herself, "they will return, but they will not expect what they are about to face, and even if they try, they will struggle to predict us. Because humans are not just reactive, we are proactive. We are thinkers, innovators, and survivors." Rodriguez looked out the window, his expression a mix of awe and respect. "Lieutenant, I never imagined humans could turn something like their toxin against them." "It's incredible," Mara smiled faintly. "It's not just me. It's every human here, every human in the galaxy. We survive, we adapt, and when we are pushed to our limits, we rise stronger than any enemy expects." The day passed with preparation and planning. The humans repaired what they could, reinforced defenses, and studied the alien devices. Mara knew that knowledge was power. By understanding the aliens' technology, their tactics, and their weaknesses, humans could prepare for future encounters. They could not predict everything the aliens would do, but they could adapt, and adaptation was their greatest weapon. As evening approached, the alien fleet returned, this time with caution written into every movement. Smaller squads tested the humans' defenses, but every attempt was met with calculated countermeasures. Mara and her team had become a well-coordinated unit, moving with precision, intuition, and intelligence. One alien attempted to deploy a toxin emitter near the main control room. Mara had anticipated the move. With a single signal, Rodriguez activated a magnetic field. Jalen used a metal panel to redirect energy pulses, and Mara herself moved to deflect the incoming cloud. The emitter malfunctioned spectacularly, releasing the toxin harmlessly into the sky and creating a smoke cloud that obscured the aliens' vision. The humans pressed their advantage. Using environmental knowledge, quick thinking, and coordinated maneuvers, they disabled alien devices one by one. Each success sent waves of panic through the alien ranks. They had relied on fear, chemical warfare, and technology to dominate humans. But each assumption had been shattered. Mara's mind raced as she guided her team. Focus on coordination. Exploit every opening. Use their confidence against them. Humans adapt faster than they anticipate. The aliens attempted to retreat, regrouping near their ships. But Mara saw an opportunity. Using the outpost's terrain and remaining machinery, the humans created traps and obstacles that slowed the aliens' escape. Sparks, debris, and malfunctioning devices created chaos, forcing the aliens to abandon key equipment in their flight. Finally, the horizon cleared. The alien ships pulled away, leaving behind a scene of human ingenuity and victory. The outpost was battered, but the humans had not only survived, they had proven themselves in a way no alien could have predicted. Mara gathered her team one last time. "Look around," she said. "This is what humans can do when pushed to their limits. We survive, we adapt, and we overcome. And every species in the galaxy should take note. Underestimating humans is a mistake no one can afford to make." Her team nodded, exhausted but proud. They had faced one of the galaxy's most advanced species, survived chemical warfare, and turned the tide through resilience, intelligence, and creativity. Humans were more than survivors. They were a force the galaxy would have to reckon with. Rodriguez grinned. "Lieutenant, I think we just earned humanity a reputation." Mara's eyes sparkled with quiet determination. "Not a reputation, Rodriguez. A warning. Humans are unpredictable. Humans are resilient, and humans are unstoppable when we rise to the challenge." As night fell on Xyrath 7, Mara stood on the observation deck, watching the stars twinkle above. Somewhere out there, the aliens were learning a lesson they would not forget. Humans were not fragile. Humans were not weak. Humans were capable of adapting, thinking, and turning adversity into strength. The outpost, though scarred, stood as a symbol of human ingenuity and resilience. Every damaged machine, every scorched wall, every malfunctioning alien device was a testament to what humans could achieve when they refused to yield. Mara took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the day and the pride of survival. She had led her team through danger, chemical warfare, and intelligent adversaries, and they had emerged victorious not just by strength but by mind, spirit, and determination. The galaxy would remember this battle. The aliens would reconsider their approach, and humans, led by leaders like Mara, would continue to prove, again and again, that no challenge was too great, no enemy too powerful, and no weapon too deadly to overcome. Mara's thoughts drifted to the future. She knew the aliens would return, perhaps with new strategies, more advanced toxins, and different technology. But she also knew that humans would always rise to the occasion. They had survived impossible odds before, and they would do it again. Humans adapted. Humans endured. Humans fought back. And every time they grew stronger, smarter, and more unpredictable. That was the lesson of Xyrath 7, a lesson that would echo across the stars. As she looked at her team, exhausted but alive, Mara smiled. "We did it," she said softly. "And we've only just begun." The stars above Xyrath 7 shone brightly, reflecting the resilience of the humans below. The galaxy had witnessed a truth that could not be ignored. Humans were a force unlike any other, capable of turning the deadliest attacks into opportunities, and the most impossible situations into victories. Lieutenant Mara Keen and her team had survived the alien toxin. They had adapted, retaliated, and emerged victorious. And the lesson was clear. In the vast reaches of the galaxy, humanity would never be underestimated again. The night was quiet, but the echoes of human resilience would ripple across the stars, a warning and a promise. Wherever humans went, wherever challenges arose, they would endure, adapt, and rise stronger than anyone could imagine.